Given the scale and scope of the marketing campaign around this movie, I was ready to have a much bigger, bolder opinion. But Marty Supreme really just kind of gives Diet Wolf of Wall Street. Not quite a sports movie, certainly not a biopic, and something of a small-scale crime thriller drama. Marty Supreme stars Timothee Chalamet in arguably his biggest role to date, with the actor playing pro ping pong player slash grifter Marty Mauser. The character is very, very loosely based on real-life table tennis player Marty Reisman, but it's a fool's errand to treat this like a biographical film. Director Josh Safdie and his co-writer Ronald Bronstein instead make this 2.5-hour movie into a story that aims to capture the futility of the American dream and the inherent toxicity of American ambition and things of that ilk. As Marty scrounges for funds and notoriety to fuel his ping pong career, he's alternatively helped and hindered by a massive ensemble that includes his childhood friend and soon-to-be mother of his child Rachel, played by Odessa Zion, retired actress Kay Stone, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, Kay's pen magnate millionaire husband Milton, played by Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank fame, and Marty's fellow table tennis hustler Wally, played by Tyler the Creator. There are about 5,000 more minor characters to mention, from Marty's Munchausen's mother to the creepy gangster he and Rachel end up finding themselves entangled with, but you can be sure that Marty finds creative and cruel ways to spurn them all. He's obsessed with the concept of greatness, and he's so convinced of his own significance in the world that he'll go to great and terrible lengths to be sure that others know it too. Whether that means the lowest stakes armed robbery you've ever seen, or spinning tall tales of self-aggrandizement to very important people, Marty will do it all and then some. He's a manipulative showman rather than an outright snake oil salesman, so he takes pride in being an absolute piece of shit and a conniving little twerp. So his intention of being a true professional athlete sort of starts to take a backseat. That tension is made clear during the film's first ping pong competition, when in one of the film's best scenes, Marty cements his status as both a top player and a significant personality after performing a trick-filled rally and then winning the semifinals of the British Open. Despite that deliberate showing off, Marty is then offended by the idea of taking a job with the Harlem Globetrotters after the tournament, refusing to waste his talents and his prowess on a silly little vaudeville act with ping pong paddles. And yet, not only does he end up taking that job for the money, but Marty also submits himself to plenty more moments of humiliation, all in the name of making it to the top, even as he finds himself at rock bottom.
I know it's hard to believe, but I'm telling you, this game, it fills stadiums overseas. And it's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
Marty Supreme is well made, well acted, and well executed, but much like its title character, it often falls short of greatness. Comparisons to Uncut Gems and other Safdie films are inevitable, but this movie doesn't have that same kind of kinetic momentum. The main issue is that it stretches itself a little too thin, making it harder to connect with the characters and the conflicts on screen. Marty does some batshit crazy things to get money or to make a new connection, but the consequences are almost always foisted onto someone else. That is clearly the point to an extent, but when Marty can just hop right into another scene with another character, the impact is dulled, especially when it happens over and over again, and when those other characters also don't seem to be all that affected by his exploits. It's a bit of a rinse, lather, repeat over the course of 2.5 hours, and it gets a little predictable. You know the movie is going to fuck over a supporting character in an increasingly fucked up way. Marty pieces out, end scene. There is some fun to be had with these story beats, especially because the script has a good sense of humor. Marty is a dick, and Timothée Chalamet does a really excellent job of delivering his most dickish lines. It's hard to make a character like that funny without being overly alienating, and the whole Marty Supreme team toes that line pretty well.
I wanted to see the travel agent on my lunch break.
You'll never come back after your lunch break.
That's what you think of me?
Yes.
I'm honestly so glad Gwyneth Paltrow was in this too. I need her to stop gooping and get back on serious movie sets because she's also so good at walking that kind of tonal tightrope. She's an audience surrogate in several ways, calling Marty out on his shit while also rooting for him. And at the same time, Kay is the character with the most depth outside of Marty. The actors then have a really good dynamic together that I wish we got to see more of, but Kay stops being a character in Marty's story when she stops having anything to contribute to it. Financially, that is. Kevin O'Leary's scary capitalist pig Milton also makes for a solid enough antagonist when he's present, lording the necessary evils of corporate sponsorship and performative promotional matches over Marty's head. As Rachel, Odessa Azion is also good, but her character and her interest in Marty can't help but feel underwritten. I'm not really sure she has a motivation outside of trying to be with Marty, but we don't see anything from him that makes him desirable as a partner, and we don't see enough of her to understand why she's so hung up on him. Rachel gets one kind of master Marty manipulator moment that adds some heft and complexity to their relationship, but like with so much else in the film, the consequences of the fallout just sort of fade away. There are more things to nitpick. Too many tight close-ups, 80s needle drops aren't as revelatory as the movie thinks they are, sperm opening credits are dumb, and the last scene doesn't make any sense after we built up 2.5 hours with this character. But at the end of the day, this is a good movie. Other reviews and the whole publicity cycle are really hyping up Marty Supreme to such an extent that I think if you don't love this film, you're probably gonna walk away a little bit disappointed, and that's where I'm at. It's a great Timothée Chalamet performance that may very well win him an Oscar, and I think the casting team here fully deserves the first Oscar for Outstanding Casting, or however they're going to title that category. But I can't help feeling that this movie is just fine. Timothée Chalamet has been, over the moon in promotional quotes and events and publicity and all of that, saying that this is an original movie and that makes it special. Sure, it's neat to see a huge movie not based on any existing IP, but I'm not sure Marty Supreme really brings anything revelatory or even all that fresh to the canon of American film. It's effectively executed with a handful of great moments, so it earns a positive review, but it just doesn't meet the heights of its hype. Marty Supreme gets a tepidly favorable 3.5 out of 5 stars from me.
Everybody